right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hope all of you are having a wonderful morning. TGIF, by the way. I'm excited that it's the weekend and we all get to do fun stuff or prospecting. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to cover how the approach impacts all revenue areas. Now, what I mean by this is your approach to everything that you do in Planet Beach is going to either make or break the overall end result. And that could go from anywhere between the 3 R's, the REDS ratio retention, to even the O, but the O being operations and staffing. So there's an approach to doing everything. And it's always, if any of you have ever seen it on movies or lived it in your personal lives, I typically like to relate every training that I do with something that is actually personal so that you can relate and understand it a little bit better. But it's almost like whenever you have a significant other and you get into a disagreement or an argument, and it always comes down to it's not what you said, it's how you said it. Perfect example of what you always will hear me specifically as your consultant always stress about and constantly focus on. It is always going to be based on the way that you seemed, the way that you've approached the situation. And at the end of the day, anybody else that you are handling, whether it's a customer, a member, potential customer, because you're trying to get them in the door, let's say you're prospecting, if their perception of you is one thing, then it's your reality, regardless of if you might or might not notice that. And everything that's Planet Beach related, no matter what it is, no matter what the process, no matter what the script, or when you present a price point, or when you present this product, or how you were able to effectively get a lead, at the end of the day, if the person feels like what you're doing is selling, or you're too pushy, or maybe you're just not likable enough, then that is the approach. And that is when you realize as a franchisee or a spa director, if I'm failing at something specific to REDS, ratio, retention, staff, keeping them motivated, keeping them around, then obviously, and I know that I'm rolling out the systems and I'm following the procedures to a T the way that you find on Orion all the time, then the hole in the gap there needs to be more role play, or maybe you need to secret shop your own stores some more, or go to some of these promotions or when they go out prospecting so you can see exactly what they are looking like, what they're doing, how they look, so you can have that other set of eyes and ears on everything going on, because there's 100% guarantee that it's definitely coming down to however it's being approached. So when running a successful Planet Beach, the number one thing to remember is, you've heard me say this a million times if you've been on webinars, but if it's one of your first ones or you're just getting back into the swing of things and these are one of your first webinars, if that's the case, then a lot of times you'll hear me say this, it's never going to be the contents of what you're offering. It's never going to be the process. It's never going to be the procedures that is what's not working. It will 100% always be about the how and the why. Because if you ask anybody on a personal level to do something for you that in their mind they don't understand why they have to do it, then it's not going to get done. In order for me to understand why it's so important for you, why is it so important that I have to pick up the milk on the way home? Why do I have to do it? Why can't you do it? Well, you would tell me before even going there and asking me to pick up the milk on the way home that you have to work late. That's why. So I understand that if I don't get the milk, we're not having any cookies tonight. So if there's any specifics, maybe you tell your husband to pick up milk or bread or something simple like that. Hey, look, I'm working late. I need you to pick up the milk. You've already told me the why it's important, and if I want to have my cookies or if I want to make a sandwich tomorrow morning before I go to work, I'm going to need to get the bread. But I'm a man, and maybe I don't know the grocery store you like to shop at, or maybe you buy a specific brand that I don't know about. That's when you tell me the how. Make sure you go to this specific grocery store because that's the one that carries that brand of milk that you like, the coconut milk or whatever it is. But make sure you go to this specific one because If not, you're going to end up going to this grocery store because it's closest to home, and you're going to be thinking convenience, right? And that's not where you're going to be able to find the things that you like. So make sure when you go to get the milk, you do it this way and you go here. That is a personal life experience that is a perfect example to tie into your approach with everything you do with Planet Beach. If your staff doesn't understand why certain processes are in place, they're not going to implement it. You need to tell them why. Why do we need to have 12 reds a day? That is so much. That's way too much. We're not getting any right now. What makes you think, what are you on right now to think that we're just going to magically start getting 12? Well, it's important that we get 12 because that's why we only sold 10 memberships last month instead of 30, because we didn't have the ratio of overbooking people to come in, because based on who's actually going to show and who's actually going to buy, this is why we're averaging, 2-3 memberships a week, because we're not putting forth that effort into that. So they're going to go, oh, I get it. Okay, now that's why you're saying. You're just telling me I need to overbook because you're not really expecting 12 to show. If 12 show, that's great. But that's one of those things that I'm pretty certain that many of you right now are sitting back going, maybe my staff doesn't realize that the 12 reds I'm expecting in the book have to show. That's something I've noticed on a lot of my calls over the last week or so with a lot of stores. 12 people coming in every single day. No, 12 red appointments are 12 leads of names and numbers that you gathered from your specific marketing efforts, consultant A, and you booked them on this day. Yay, you booked your requirement. This is yours. Now, we're going to do confirmations. We're going to send reminder emails, text messages, or make reminder phone calls. But if 6 of them show, you didn't fail. So don't think that I'm expecting you to have all 12. Yeah, I'd love that. That would be a perfect day. But the red appointments, make sure they understand what a red appointment really is. Because a lot of consultants, when I've done a lot of surveying out there in the field and polling in the field, I found out that they're thinking that that's got to be, like, if they don't have 12 new people in the door, then they're going to get in trouble. So make sure you specify that. And how. Don't just say you need to get reds, and don't even stop at do an ambassador push, or maybe go out and hand out some guest passes, or go talk to B2Bs. That's not specific enough. That's not a very smart goal. So make sure you tell them how. Listen, go to these specific businesses and look, because we've worked with them in the past, maybe approach it like this, or call in advance and offer them a free gift, and you just need a head count and you want to come drop off some presents and just randomly drop in a. If you show them how and why it's important for them to do it, I promise you your ship will turn around. So let's get started on the approach trainings. So what we're going to cover today, and I won't cover into some of this that has to do with any approach to a product sale, because you should have gotten that from Tuesday's webinar that we did, and that is recorded and was emailed out as well as posted in the Facebook group. So you can find that to get that specific training. I don't want to keep you guys because I love to talk. But what we're going to cover is who is the Planet Beach Spa consultant, because like I just mentioned, that's very unclear on what their expectations are. It's very unclear on what a red appointment really is, and so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about the Planet Beach Spa consultant, a true one. We're going to talk about the impact of an approach, the approach and ops and management to reds, ratio retention, and what you can do to start making the appropriate changes. So if you're looking at the screen, you see a lot of words. I'm going to briefly cover each point on what the Planet Beach Spa consultant is. The Planet Beach Spa consultant doesn't only exude the beauty and wellness that we mission ourselves to provide to our customers, but must be a consultant providing a consultative moment at every opportunity possible. What this means is they need to understand that their role is a spa consultant for a reason, and it's not, I'm going to consult you on your results. That's just one fraction of what a true spa consultant is. I'll tell you this now, just because I have the experience to be able to tell you this, and if you are a top spa and you're on this specific training, or if you've ever been a top spa, You will be everybody's consultant in life. You will be a life consultant. Sometimes you'll have members coming in there complaining about their boyfriends, or crying about their husbands or their best friends forgot their birthday. You're going to find a lot of times, and your staff will know this too. A consultant always finds a way to consult people because that's a retention tool. There is to pull out the people skills and be able to make that member feel comfortable coming in there. You don't want them sitting there crying on your couch, but they're doing a lot more than just consulting on which product matches which service. They're also consulting on financial goals. Believe it or not, they have to be little mini financial advisors because that's how you overcome financial objections. So when you're giving them training and you're teaching them how to overcome financial objections, then that's the time where you can tell them, listen, don't be afraid to work with these specific situations. I don't want you waiving any enrollment fees by any means. If it comes down to that, let that be the last possible option. However, somebody doesn't have $99 at this very moment, offer to break it up into installments of 2. Well, what can you do today? If you absolutely can't do anything, I don't want you walking out of here and not becoming a member for something as silly as a financial reason, because I want to get you set up on this today. So why don't we just get you set up? Don't worry about anything right now. And, Friday, when you said you get paid on Friday and you want to come back, then you know what? At that time, I'll just go ahead and post this balance to your account. And Friday, we'll take care of this enrollment. And teach them that. Tell them that they have to sort of be little mini financial advisors when it comes to that kind of stuff. And they're consulting them to a solution. And if you want to do anything and take anything from this training, you'll write that down. You want to make sure that in every case scenario, they know that they are to be the consultant of the scenario. They're not just a spa consultant. They're not a Planet Beach spa consultant. They are a scenario consultant. Find a solution to make them a member, and once they start thinking along those lines, that's okay, we can do this. That's okay, we can do that. Now, if you want to set limitations on specific things, I'm not saying let them have free reign of things. If there are standards you don't want them to cross into because they don't have that type of power, make sure that you set those standards. If it has anything to do with money, I always recommend check with the franchisee or the spa director first before making any negotiations. But as far as retail, as far as getting a red appointment, as far as acquiring leads from an existing member, all of those things, they have to think along the lines of a consultant. They have to figure out and consult this new member on why it's beneficial for them to give you their friends' names, numbers, and email addresses. This is going to be beneficial for you all in all because we want to pay for your membership. But right now, they're not thinking along those lines, and what they're doing is they're basically spewing back the terms and the limitations and the requirements for an ambassador program, and it sounds very salesy because they read it from a manual, and they're not getting anything of it, and they're just super, super demotivated. So keep that in mind. They have to appear the part. You're never going to sell beauty, guys. I'm going to tell you this now, and you should know this at this stage in your careers. But I do want to just cover this to say that I have, because we do have some newer people on this specific webinar. They need to know the importance of this. You would never go and get your hair done by somebody whose hair is all jacked up. If they did that to their hair, what are you going to do to mine? So if I'm going to go and approach you and try to make a red appointment out of you, I'm representing a brand and a company that provides beauty and wellness services. If I don't look beautiful and I don't look well, then I'm probably not going to do very, very well when I go out and try to get red appointments. If my hair is thrown on top of my head, if I brushed it, if I'm hungover, if I'm not feeling well and you made me come in anyway, no makeup's on my face, if I seemingly look like I'm just not well overall, nobody's going to trust that your services are going to make them well. So keep that in mind. Hire to duplicate your best. Don't look for a replacement for your worst. You want to carbon copy your top eagles so that you have an entire team of eagles. You might have heard me say this a couple of times in staffing trainings before, but all in all, what you want to do is if you sit back and you can identify right now, I want you to think of every single person on your staff right now. Who is your weakest link and who is your strongest person? When you think you need to replace somebody, what is the first thing that you think about replacing? Who is the first person you think about replacing? It's natural as little business people, out there and franchisees or owners. It's natural for us to say, well, the weakest link, of course. No. You want to look to replace your strongest eagle, not to actually replace them, but it's called, and you could write this down, top grading. It's a top grading approach that whenever you're hiring and interviewing and looking for this true spa consultant, or what I like to call scenario consultant, you're looking to replace your top performer because you want to have somebody in the roles and make them mini executives. That's what I used to love to call my spa consultants. You were all your own executives because you all control your own financial future. Your financial situation is all in your control. So I look at you all as leaders. I look at you all as executives, and I trust your opinion and I value your creativity. And that's why I always ask you, where do you think we should promote this week? I have belief in you, and so on and so forth. Because what you're doing there is you're setting up these little eagles to want to take the job of the spa director. And spa directors on the call, if you know anything at all at this point, you know that's what you actually want. Because if they all want to be in a management role and grow within the company and they're all making that much money, the franchisee and that at that time will have plenty enough to go around to be able to promote you even more so, or even make you a multi-unit manager. And take on another spas. The opportunities are endless there. So just keep that in mind. You always want to top grade and hire to duplicate / replace your best, not your worst. Your worst should be out of there the second you find somebody that is capable of replacing your top performer. A fun little fact for you guys, you know what our demographic is. You've heard Eileen's name said again and again and again all year long. Women are a tricky gender and are statistically, and I'm not kidding you guys, biologically, their DNA is made up to be way more difficult. If you're a man and you are on this call, you're probably nodding your head like you have no idea, lady. Females on the call, we know how we can be. So we're a lot harder of a sale. We'll give a lot more pushback and we'll be a lot more difficult for a salesperson or a consultant to sell something to us. Why? Well, because a woman will have no problem turning down a perfectly good product or service at a great price, all because of a bad first impression. I just didn't like her. Whatever. I don't even want to see what the product can do for me. I don't want to see what this service can do for me because I'll never go in there if I got to see her little snotty little face, right? We know that that's how females can be. So in order to prevent anything like that from happening, tie up the loose ends, folks, and make sure that all of these little things that we just covered that are in your control are being controlled, because those are the easiest things that you can actually implement a fix to in your spas and knock it out now, because you don't want that to just be a worry for you later on. So just remember that who you hire is going to be the face of your business and is a walking, breathing, talking representation of your business at all times, not just when they're at work or prospecting. When they're out in the field, people ask you in social conversations, where do you work? Oh, where is it that you work? Or you have a conversation and that comes up, oh, I work at Planet Beach. If they're dancing on top of a bar and their dress is hiked up and they just look a hot mess because their makeup's smeared down their face, and or maybe they're just not put together and they look, I don't want to say rough around the edges at an event. That right there is what they will affiliate Planet Beach with if this person just said they work at Planet Beach where they offer beauty and wellness services, right? So keep that in mind too. They need to know that at all times they are out there and people are matching the brand to that face. So you may or may not have heard about the 5 indispensable components of a successful spa consultant, but if you have not, be sure to write this down. And the five main components that make up a successful consultant is the fact that they have got to be skilled, or if not skilled, taught the skill set, because many of you have very younger or inexperienced consultants on your hands, and it's up to you to mold them into becoming eagles for the rest of their life and their careers, or you can contribute to the millennial cause and make them what are millennials called? Self-entitled, whatever else. I don't know. I'm technically offended because I'm a millennial and I don't think that I'm like that, but whatever. So a couple of different things to remember whenever you're looking for the aptitude of the skill set. They have to, if they're afraid to talk to people, strike one and you're out. There's no room for strike two or three. I don't want to make a phone call. I'm afraid. That's weird. You want me to just go up to them and talk to them? If they're afraid, if they're not an extrovert, they're not a spa consultant material. You'd be a great member though. Let me tell you about our different prices and our specials going on. So prospecting and promotion, they have to be able to be likable. They have to be relatable, have a basic conversation skills, and understand the end goal, that their number one goal and their number one component will be prospecting. Because anybody who's good at prospecting has a natural skill set of selling. So if you have somebody who understands, who gets it, who is a prospector to no end, then you're already winning with a good possible candidate for a spa consultant. Then membership sales, like I just mentioned, they're natural born salespeople. They'll be able to get somebody in and sold on a membership. Relationship building and superior service. Again, if they know how to prospect and promote, they know how to build and keep relationships. So that quality should be natural to them. Retail sales ties in with membership sales. Again, if they can prospect, talk to people, and promote, they will be able to sell, and retail sales ties into that. Referrals. Referrals is almost a piggyback of prospecting and promoting, because they understand that when you get member referrals, that is prospecting, because the difference between marketing and prospecting, remember what the two differences are? Marketing is basically just brand awareness. That's taking guest passes, $50 gift certificates, running an ad in a newspaper, just telling people, hey, I'm Planet Beach and I'm here. That's marketing. Prospecting is when you actually get information to take back with you and have the opportunity to call and book a red appointment out of it. So with referrals, that's sort of the same thing as prospecting and promoting, but looking at it as a separate entity. If they can have a conversation at a promotion and they can have a conversation and know their approach to prospecting new leads, they'll be able to know an approach to getting a member referral. So, I want you guys to stop the madness, and I want you to think about this. Do you feel, as a spa director, and even as a franchisee with your spa director, do you feel like you have trained on everything possible that we offer in our Orion folders? You follow processes, but you're defeated because you've done everything and you're still not producing. If you've answered yes, and you have trained in all areas of your spa, doing what is in the manuals and the webinars, you're just not seeing these results. It's not you or the materials and the content of the training. It's not what you're implementing, it's how. We've discussed that. So the good news is, you guys, if you have had that aha moment, the first step in solving a problem is what? Figuring it out. So we've had our aha moment. Hopefully some of you have on this call right now. Maybe it'll take for you to replay this later on and really let it sink in to have that moment. But the good news is, now that we figured out the problem, and the even better news about this is that there is a solution. Reassess your daily activities and current implementation of your operations and sales. That means sit back, say, okay, what is the definition of insanity? You all know what that is. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. The hardest part about change is implementation. And you can write that down, because that's going to be something, especially for a season location. If you have to make changes that you're not used to having to do and start something new, like I'm about to start getting heavy duty psycho on each and every one of you about having 12 red appointments booked a day, but I will provide how to do that. Don't you worry, your pretty little heads off. But if you know, okay, my change is going to be, I'm going to go from making 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 right now that I'm averaging to 12. The hardest part about that is the implementation of the change. It's not the change itself. So write that down. Now we're going to kick it off with the snowball effect. The snowball effect takes place in day-to-day activities, personally and professionally. A snowball effect can be good or it can be bad. And we all know what a snowball effect is. For those of you who do not, it starts with something teeny tiny that you don't think has any effect on anything. Nobody will notice this. Oh, I'm not going to do that because that's you know what, that's just too much, or that's overkill, or that will never, no, I don't know why that's even important. I'm not even going to do that. Well, yeah, that one little teeny tiny thing, such as getting a name and number when somebody calls and asks how much a Mystic costs me. How much is it to get a spray tan by you? Oh, it's, $39, and, but it ranges because it depends on what you get in it. Okay, thanks, bye. Okay, so I don't want to harass them. I don't want to get their names and their numbers and follow the script because it's too much. People get aggravated. But how does that snowball effect into a negative aspect? That person's window shopping. They called the place that has a spray tan machine within a shoe store. That's real. That's in New Orleans. There's a girls' shoe store that has a Mystic tanning booth in it. I believe that. Trust me. I saw it from my own two eyes. I don't know why. But anyway, they offer it for $15 over there. So the stores, the Planet Beach stores that surround this specific store is always competing with this dang shoe store that's getting all their spray tan members because it's only $15 there and they won't stick to that script. So that person's window shopping is going to go to another place, which in turn, they're going to go and keep going to that other place. So the fact that you didn't get a name and a number, you cannot say, let me call that person back. Sure, you might have caller ID, but at that point, their mind's made up because I'm not going to come in there. I have no need to come back in there and use stuff. I already know what your price is. I'm going to continue going to the $15 a spray tan people, but thank you anyway. So that in turn, you lost a member, which could have contributed $59 had that person known unlimited spray tans. I could have got for $59 and prep services too before I got in, so it would look a heck of a lot better. And products, are you kidding? I could get discounted products to be able to keep it up and make it last longer. All those sales people started by, I just didn't want to bother them. They just wanted to know a price, and I just gave them one. So think about that when we talk about the snowball effect and how it can all in all affect your end goal of a net EFT. So management and operations, snowball effect, right? Recruiting approach, training approach, disciplinary action approach, motivating staff approach. Write that down because that is your management and operations approach training. When it comes to staffing, it's never just, oh, I'm going to post ads, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get referrals, I'm going to do an interview process, then I'm going to have them, I'm going to choose from the people and recruit them, then I'm going to train them, and then they'll be good to go. That's not the way that it works. Right now, it might work that way for you because for whatever reason, you're strapped for time. You don't have the time to really pay attention to all of the elements when it comes to management and operations the way you should. But know that these 4 elements are all broken down with there's a good approach and a bad approach to all of those. I can recruit poorly, which is why I'm getting poor candidates. I might not be recruiting the proper way, and I'm not training the proper way for sure. Because if I'm just throwing somebody in there to shadow me, I don't even pay attention to my bad habits when I'm just trying to get through a task because I have 14,000 other things going on. But I got the new girl here watching every move that I'm making and seeing all of my poor habits. And I'm not motivating when I say, just watch what I do. When you're thrown into a role and you're not trained properly, it can be very demotivating because you almost feel set up to fail. Which is why you want to have a team of eagles going back into your spa consultants, wanting to have all mini executives, all leaders who want a management role. Because in the event that you do, as a franchisee or spa director, come across the times where you don't have those times and those moments to follow a calendar and a checklist of training, you'll at least have those other little eagles helping you saying, you know what, you have to do collections today and you have to call everybody that's canceling because I know that it's almost to the end of the month. Why don't you go ahead and do that? I'll go ahead and do the training that's on the checklist for today with this person because that's actually, I'm the top performer in this area right now. So I'll go ahead and take that off your plate. That's where it comes in handy, folks. And then also, when you look at management and operations and you look at recruiting and hiring, one thing remains the same, motivating your staff. That approach you will never stop doing. The same way that you signed on and you bought into a Planet Beach or you signed on to run a Planet Beach for a franchisee, the same way you got me as your ongoing support, I don't just say, hey, good luck, guys. You're never going to hear from me again. Call me if you need me, but please don't, and just let me know if you just have a question. No, I provide you guys as much as possible with, weekly webinars, email blasts, a Facebook group for you guys to go to and motivate each other. That's ongoing motivation, and that's how you as a franchisee and a spa director need to think and look at recruiting and hiring and management and operations. It's an ongoing either snowball effect for the good or the bad. Because the moment that you stop or the moment that you show any signs of negativity or neglect is whenever you start to see those top performers start to slow down, and then they start getting burnt out because it's hard to catch up whenever you fall behind. So keep that in mind. Just to tap into this, because I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on recruiting, that's a separate training. But in case you guys are in the middle of possibly recruiting, or you know what, my staff, I need to wipe them out. I need to get all new staff. So this is something, that might be happening soon for you. A recruiting approach is always smile, welcome, enthusiasm, learn, name, and listen, just like our regular swell you hear all the time. Compliment the same way you compliment a guest when they're walking into your spa for the first time. Never discuss job opportunity if they're in their current place of work. I'm not going to recruit you at your job that you are currently at because A, it's disrespectful. It shows your character, and that's a character flaw of disrespect. So that's going to resonate in the back of their mind. If they're doing that to me here, what kind of stuff will they be doing about me if they're not happy or pleased with my performance behind my back? So keep that in mind as well. Invite them in to use services. You provided me with such a great experience here. I want to provide the same for you along with this tip. If you're a server or you're in hospitality and it's a bellhop or whatever, front desk attendant at a hotel, anywhere that you go, not just those restaurants and bars, you guys, there is so many opportunities where if you feel like, man, you know what, if I actually cared enough to pull my cell phone out, download the Yelp app, go and post a good review, I would totally do that for you. But I'm not because I'm too busy. That's me. Those are those moments where you give them business cards and you give them guest passes and say, you know what, here's some free spa services. You deserve it. You're a hard worker, and I just had a really great experience with you. There's my Yelp review. You're welcome. Drop in their ear you're looking for staff who are just as motivated and as amazing as they are if you happen to have that luxury of being in a situation where you are able to have a little bit more of a conversation and it's not like a pass and go, hurry up, turn you over kind of situation. And as always, because you guys know I'm a little crazy about this, OCD, always discuss and drop in what their WIFMs are with a consultant/director role. WIFMs are huge. WIFM is every approach. No matter what you're trying to do, recruit, get a new lead, close a membership, retain a member, everything that you do, set up a B2B, business-to-business account, you won't get anything if you kick it off with, let's talk about me. I love talking about myself. Let's just keep talking about me for a long time, and then, then I'll remember we're talking about you for a second. No, nobody cares about that. You don't want to give them a history lesson. And here's a quick tip you can write down and take with you because this is a sidebar. When you approach anything in recruiting and REDS, ratio retention, B2Bs, corporate accounts, anything like that at all, when you discuss the WIFM and you want to kick it off with a WIFM, always know, A, you need a swell, you need a compliment, and then you need a WIFM. Okay, that's 3-step process. And then go into what Planet Beach is. If you want to go into what Planet Beach is at first because they're like, what is Planet Beach? I highly recommend that you give them a 1-minute elevator pitch. Now, for those of you who've been around a while, you remember the old USP. That's always a good one. And if you've not been around a while, if you're new to this, if this is all still a little bit new to you within the last year or two, then that's basically the USP is the Planet Beach. Planet Beach created the automated spa concept, which is now Spray and Spa concept. So at the touch of a button, our members can enjoy a private and relaxing spa experience at a fraction of the cost and in far less time than a traditional luxury day spa. What I did there, and you can listen to that back. I know some of you might have been writing it down, typing it. You'll get this link later to be able to write it down. But Planet Beach created the automated spa concept. So our members, at the push of a button, our members can enjoy a relaxing and soothing spa experience, private soothing, relaxing spa experience at a fraction of the cost and far less time than a traditional day spa. That describes our business model, right? I just explained I was automated. I just explained that it's a private experience, so it's just me. I just explained that it's going to be way cheaper and it's not going to take me forever in a day just because I want to treat myself. So you got my attention on all of those points of our business model. So when you're going to approach anything in any situation, you swell, you compliment, you whiff them, what's in it for them, or you 1 minute elevator pitch them, then whiff them, or flip flop those last two. But that's just the little keys to the secret of an approach of success. Training approach. This is where we all drop the ball at, and even me sometimes, because I know sometimes I talk too much. But you know what? I'm that girl who every Wednesday night, if you've heard that story, every Wednesday night I can hear my mom in the back of my head and I'm taking my trash out because every night, every Wednesday, did you take your trash out? Did you take your trash out? Did you take your trash out? Yes, Mom, stop telling me, Mom. Yes, Mom, stop telling me, Mom. And guess what? Because she kept repeating herself, I almost get a little twitch in my right eye because on Wednesday nights, it's like ding, ding, ding. Trash comes tomorrow. So, I know sometimes I could probably shorten it up, but I'm a big believer in repeating because I feel like you remember those things better. However, the training approach is usually about 80% of our locations train incorrectly. The other 20%, guess who they are? Our top spas. So if you're ready to be a top spa, you'll pay attention to this very important detail of the approach training. And that is first and foremost, no matter what you do, make it fun. If you're a miserable soul, then you are not a trainer. Find somebody else who is a leader or in a leadership role to do this training. Because if you are not going to be motivational or not have patience with me or not try to even find out what my strengths and weaknesses are to better benefit me and use that in your leadership role to motivate me later on down the line, I don't want to work for you. That's not a happy workplace, and I'm not going to stick around. I'm going to be the girl that texts you on Sunday before you go to church and say, hey, I'm not coming in, and you have to cancel all of your plans to have to work your spa. So make it fun. Don't make it stressful. If you have stressful situations that might arise during your training, be sure that you handle it smoothly. Put your game face on, your poker face, and make sure you don't express how stressed out or high anxiety you are, because keep in mind, they're very impressionable at this moment. They're watching every single move you're making and what you're saying and how you're acting, and they're mimicking. They're going to mimic everything that they see you do. So if stressful situations arise, this service just broke on that member, or this call is important and this person's angry, it's a customer service situation. No hemming and hawing and huffing and puffing and, oh my God, this is so annoying, or I'm so stressed out. Don't do it. Make it fun, twist it around, game face on, because you are the leader. Put together a training calendar. You guys know how I am about checklists and calendars. I am crazy about checklists and calendars. That's how each and every one of your leaders need to be in these spas. Because what's going to happen is when there's organization in place, which probably I would venture to say if 70% of you on this call probably have a situation where your counters or your podiums is a hot mess with papers in different places, binders that contain agreements from God only knows when. Oh, there's that freeze form that I told that member she never filled out. So organization is key. So put together a training calendar and manage your time appropriately. Spa directors, you already are stretched so thin. Don't put more on yourself, and don't put more on yourselves or your coworkers by having to have somebody shadow train, learn the bad ways, the negative ways, your negative habits, to have to go back and fix later on. Because once you've planted that seed and once you went ahead and you established this person's work ethic in your spa, that is going to be 7 times harder to get them to change an old and negative habit than it is to just do it right in the first place. So create a calendar, manage your time wisely because you have so much to do already. Just spend a couple of hours. Hey, for the first week of your shifts, come in between the hours of 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock and 1, because that's usually when I have my downtime where I do my outreach calls, follow-up thank you calls as spa director, and I can utilize that time with you for the next couple of days to go through a checklist training and make sure that we cover every single thing that you need to know. Never just wing it. Please stop doing that. Please stop shadow training. I promise you that might be that gap that you're seeing right now in underperforming consultants now. You will lose money and staff members faster and more frequently. So do not create an inferior fear with them too. That's huge. I'm the boss. Just do as I say. Bad employees are not created. Remember that. Franchisees, if you've never heard this before, write that down. Bad employees are created. I'm sorry, they're not born. Your biggest cheerleaders, you're their biggest cheerleaders. So too much boss fearing seeds planted equals higher employee turnover. So that's pretty self-explanatory, you guys. If I'm a bad employee, then that means somebody made me bad. Somebody put that poor work environment on me at some point in a previous job, and that just set the tone for the rest of my life. So guess what's going to happen to me? Not only is your business eventually going to fold, but what's going to happen to me is I'm going to be yet another one of those American citizens that settle for mediocrity and will never push myself ever, because the working man sucks. Ask each consultant too. This is huge. Write this down. How do you learn better? Are you a hands-on type of learner, or do I need to give you a bunch of webinars, let you marinate, let you take it over and over? You're more a visual person, less hands-on, or you flip-flopped? How do I need to make this learning experience beneficial for you, where this training time, this is the only training time you get because I need you on the floor ASAP. So this is crucial time. What is going to be the best time spent for you is basically what I need to figure out, so that I know all of the stuff that you're supposed to be doing and knowing is in that head the moment you take that sales floor. So don't ask. So if you don't ask, then you're just going to assume. And what's going to happen later on down the line, and many of you have said it to me before, hey, Danielle, can we have a call about this? Well, there's a webinar training. Yeah, but I don't learn that way. The same way you have those situations is the same way these consultants have these situations. So remember that. Always, always ask and never assume. The disciplinary action approach, you should always follow this, mainly because A, it protects the employer. You have a paper trail, no matter what state that you live in. So there should always be a disciplinary action approach in place, and they should be well notified and informed of what that is. The first strike is always the owner/manager's fault, no matter what. It's like a customer service complaint. Even if you know for a fact that never took place, even if you know for a fact you smiled and greeted with swell, that customer's always right. Well, for the first strike, you always want to leave room for the fact that you might have screwed up. You might have, no matter how perfect you are, because you're all little eagles, you're my little eagles, but no matter how perfect you are, there are moments where, you know what, maybe you were in the middle of thinking of something else when you explained to them this process, and you could have said it all kind of different ways and said it all kind of gibberish was coming out of your mouth. So keep in mind that you could have very well screwed up. And worst case scenario, if you know for a fact that you didn't and you did not screw up, in this case, you're giving them the opportunity to say, wow, you know what, I knew that that was my fault. They took the ownership of it. I have a great boss. I'm not going to screw this up again because I work for really great people. So that's the reason, that's the why you want to take ownership the first time around. Next time around, up until 1, 2, 3 strikes, write-ups. If you want to do a verbal warning the next time, hey, listen, since, I apologized last time, I thought, when I asked you, now is it clear? Now do you understand? I assumed when you said yes that it is, so now I have to give you a verbal warning. I have to document it. It's just a verbal warning, so it's not going towards that termination, but it will be documented. So, now that you have this and you know what's up, tell me again, is it me? Am I doing something wrong here with trying to get you to understand this? Because you have got to either stop doing this or you've got to start doing this. So remember that. Motivating approach. I mean, as if you guys don't have a great motivating approach already. You have such a really great example with me being your consultant, right? Just kidding, but not really. Rule number 1 of your motivating approach. All people are motivated by different things. It is your job to figure out exactly what it is that motivates them. Is it money, gift cards, pay their bills, buy their school books, materialistic items, alcohol? I don't know. Whatever it's going to be, everybody's motivated by something differently. So what we recommend and what works for our top locations, I did it myself, is have a tiered system in place. A monthly goal for when you hit your individual goals. Hey, Sandy, this is your goal for the month. You have to sell X amount of dollars in retail. You got to get X amount of red appointments. You got to get X amount of membership cash. You got to get this many new members, and you have to do this many promotions, and so on and so forth. So If you hit that goal, not only will you receive a total of, and calculate that out for them in these meetings, you can get this much in commissions. If everybody hits their goals the same way you did, then the entire spa gets another bonus if the whole spa hits and exceeds even more goals. So, and that gets higher and higher. So, but that aside, if you hit these goals, I want to do something nice for you. So our budget's about $100 for each of you. If you hit your goals, you'll get all that money. You'll potentially get another bonus. But what would you want? What's going on in your life right now? What would you need? Did school start? Do you need somebody to pay for a specific textbook that's really expensive? What's the case? Because we can make that your incentive. So that way that person's going to work harder, even more harder, other than the fact that they're going to get a bunch of money. They're going to work even harder to get that goal hit because they're going to want whatever it is. And everybody's motivated by something different because the other consultant might not be in school, or the other consultant might have a baby and would love for you to pay for daycare for that specific week or two or something, So something to that level, find out. And the only way to find out is obviously getting to know your consultants on a level of having team building exercises, having talks, conversations, listening to them, and finding out what's going on in their life. There's another tier, the quarterly goal. The quarterly goal usually, and this is how I implemented it in the past, but you can do it a couple of different ways. A quarterly goal is typically, obviously, whenever the goals are hit for the quarter, then they receive an even bigger budgeted incentive. So if for 3 consecutive months, which make up a quarter of the year, just in case, you guys didn't know that, but 3 consecutive months you hit your goal, you can either do it where I'm just going to make it individual, or what I used to do is make it team-wide, because what happens then is you promote camaraderie and you promote them to work with each other, not against each other, like, clawing each other's eyes out over commissions. At that time, they're like, listen, we all get a 4-day cruise. We get to choose a date on a 4-day cruise for us and one other person. After this quarter goals hit, then if you're slacking in retail, sister, move out of my way because I'm selling that retail for you and I'm going to hit your goal for you. I'll ring it up under your number if I have to, but I'm not going to let one person basically determine what's going to happen with us hitting this quarterly goal because it's a much bigger price point. And at that point, if you hit a quarterly goal for your spas, you're going to have the funds to be able to do so. Then lastly, your yearly goal. Really and truly, that's more so for your spa director or, your spa director and franchisee to enjoy together, whatever that might be. You find that out by asking those questions and finding out what's going on personally in their lives to tie it into one another. The example I give all the time, and many of you might have heard this story, but some of you might not have. The Covington spa director was getting married, and the franchisee knew that. The franchisee also knew that the spa director's parents were not funding this wedding. So what happened in that case was he went ding, 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 ding. So now the franchisee was going, hey, this month when you hit, or this month whenever you hit the goals, I'm going to give you money to purchase your cake for the wedding. The next month, you hit your goals, I'm going to give you money to buy or put the deposit down for the band. The next month is this, the next month is that. If you hit the yearly goal, whatever you have left to pay for that wedding, I'll just pay it off if at the end of the year I make this much money that I need to make in order to be a profitable business person. And at that point, that's really why you saw Covington's numbers up so much for so long. If you would have asked Paige, the spa director at the time, she would have told you, oh, I don't know, what's your secret? What motivates you? Why do you, how do you get your spa so competitive? And, what is it that's important to you for being a top spa? And every time she'll say the same thing I know I said on panel when they asked me that. I was like, I don't really care about the spa. I mean, I wanted stuff, and my franchisee gave it to me and literally had a whole convention burst into laughter. But it's the truth. I mean, that's where it lies, and it's all because you're motivating them on going, and you're finding out what's in their personal lives to do so. So spa directors, do the same thing for your consultants. This is not just a franchisee thing, and that's the purpose of those monthly meetings that you're supposed to have with each other before your staff monthly meeting. That's the things you talk about. Hey, what did we make last month? What were the expenses? I need to know what I can wiggle around with getting people incentives if they hit their goals, because I want to start motivating them on another level. These things are to be communicated in those meetings that you have with each other, spa director and franchisee. If you see a decline in morale, loss of confidence, or anything that will cause a decrease in productivity, be the voice of positivity. A positive attitude can make the difference in more sales just by providing solutions when you're faced with 1,000 problems. So, something that a very wise franchisee once told me that I want you guys to write down is, don't ever come at me with the problem again. I remember when she told me that, I was like, I don't know how to break that down. I don't know how to take that. But you're supposed to be the person I go to when I have a problem. No, I'm not. I am the person you go to when you say, here's my obstacles, but here's my solutions. So her big thing was, don't ever come at me with a problem. Come at me with solutions. This way, it's causing and creating your spa director, or spa directors, you can use this on your spa consultants. I don't know, nobody's answering the phones. Nobody ever wants to call me back. I feel like I'm harassing them, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that sounds like a problem. So I don't like when you come at me with problems. I like when you come at me with solutions. So what do you think we can do to alleviate that? What are other options here? If you were stuck on the side of the road, stranded somewhere, and you don't know how to fix a transmission, critically thinking, what would you do in a scenario like that? And then all of a sudden they start getting excited because they come up with these really creative ideas to start being more effective in that. And you didn't have to tell them anything. They figured it out on their own, and you're winning. And you're sitting up top because they're bringing in red appointments, making money, and you're getting bonuses for it and profiting, and everybody's happy. So think of that and use that line. Please use that line. Don't ever come at me with solutions. Don't ever come at me with problems. Come at me with solutions to your obstacles. That's huge. Don't ever come at me with solutions. I don't want you to be creative. So for the Reds approach, yes, consumers do judge a book by its cover. Sorry, that's just what we are. And as many of you that may even say it at times, I don't care who you are, at some level, we judge. We judge. We might not be as critical and mean as other people who are openly being judgers, but we judge. And appearance, that unfortunately is a thing. Because as much as I want to sit up here and say, hey, listen, I never judge a book by its cover, I still won't let you touch my face if your face looks like Ronald McDonald, and I'm not going to go to you before a girl's night out to do mine. Sorry. That's a judgment. So keep that in mind. I'm thinking like a consumer. That's how you guys should always be thinking as well. Approach the lead. Approach the lead. Don't sit there and be shy and bashful. That's basically what you look like right now if you have consultants that are afraid to talk to people, the introverts that you have staffed. They look afraid. They're not sold on whatever it is that they're selling. So if you even eventually get the courage enough to walk up to me, you're cute. I mean, I might appease the situation. I might make you feel better by smiling and nodding back, but you're not. Whatever this is clearly, are they torturing you, child? That's probably the first thing I would think. The approach for the red appointment booking, the approach for the entire confirmation of the red appointment and the missed red appointment. So if you're somebody getting red appointments now and you feel like you're winning, if you don't have a structure in place to confirm these reds that you're booking every single day and to follow up with a missed guest script, if you don't have, oh yeah, I'm booking reds. No, it's book reds. Every single day, part of your checklist, if you're using the checklist, is confirm those reds that are coming in that day. And anybody that doesn't show within 5-10 minutes of it, call them. Call the missed red appointment. We talked about appearance, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in that. But if you're looking at this, we have examples of no-nos. Now, any kind of writing on the behinds, we want to stay away from unless it says Planet Beach, okay? And even then it's questionable unless it depends on the audience you're targeting. Tattoos, I love tattoos, specifically good-looking ones. I'm a personal fan of it. However, I think I've shared a story with you on a webinar past that I was accused of harboring devil worshippers in my spa once before and lost a potential new member and whatever referrals that she might have had because I had a consultant that had a butterfly tattoo on her wrist because in her mind, tattoos were for the devil. So unfortunately, because I had no control over what her perception was, she said that I ran a store of devil worshippers and gothic children and promoted that behavior and all kinds of things. And you don't ever want to come across that. If you can alleviate any of that happening to you, hey, listen, wear a watch. I'd have told her to wear a watch that day to just alleviate the whole problem. Or cover it up, wear long sleeves. I'll keep it cold in here for you when you work if that means to do that because, I love it myself, but it's not my money that the franchisee's relying on to keep them open and eventually get rich off of. So it's not my choice to have an opinion in that. And that's why it's important for you to talk to your consultants and say that the same way. Now, in some markets it's okay where it is in a city environment. You are in a metropolitan type of city atmosphere, and I know our uptown New Orleans location, a lot of that is okay because a lot of the demographic in that specific area, they do have a lot of body art and piercings, and that's cool over there, and that's fine. So if you find that you're in that category, this is more so give or take if you are in the suburban area like the Planet Beach model usually has us in, where there's housewives, house moms, even Eileen's grandmas, older sisters, things to that nature, is when you want to veer away from expressing yourself through body art. Cover it up for work, do whatever else that you need to do just to be sure that you don't chance losing a sale on top of all those referrals due to that. The bright makeup, whatever. Again, hey, I don't judge. Whatever you want to do is fine by me, but whenever you are inside these four walls or when you are out prospecting, keep it to a minimum. You don't need to be scaring people off thinking that, hey, wait, what are they doing over there? Why is that girl's face lit up like a Christmas tree? I don't know if I want them to give me a facial. If they want to wear that out on the town on their own time, again, you're still a representation. But at that moment, when they're inside of those four walls and at those promotions, you have control over that to say, express yourself later. Right now, I need you to be as basic as possible. Now, you see an example of what you should be looking like if you are a man. Black button-up. Don't do the polo shirts. Don't do a hat. Don't wear a baseball cap. Don't wear tennis shoes and socks, please. If you do that now, if you have males in your stores that currently do this, this could very well be drilling down to why you're only selling $19 and $39 memberships with no enrollment fees. Because that is exactly the value I would think as being Eileen walking into this place where it's like, hey, this is cool, yeah, whatever, but I've already established what you're worth in my mind I don't even have to hear a word you said. So it's not a bad judgment call on our consumers' part. They're not calling you devil worshippers or anything, but they are saying, this is what I think based on how you thought of me today as a consumer. You clearly didn't think I was important enough to get dressed for, so I'm not going to think you're important enough to get my hard-earned $59 and $89 a month for sure. The smocks now are a uniform. For those of you who do not wear the smock due to size purposes, just FYI, they are working on getting a solution to that right now with the smocks. But until then, as you see on the screen, the girl in the middle looks amazing. She looks very professional. She looks very chic, very conservative, but almost along the lines of like a contemporary fashion. So that's our business model now. So if you are in the spas right now, I know many of you do the ColourPop thing just to add spunk and personality. And what I'm going to recommend to you guys is, although you may or may not have seen that it's been an issue before, what did we establish on the beginning of this call? Change is easy. The implementation is the hardest part. And what you're doing now is not making you profitable to the point that you'd like to be, or you're not making the paychecks with the bonuses you'd like to be making. So if it seems like it's something that, whatever, I'm going to still have the girls wear, a bright shirt or leggings or jewelry because that they should still be able to do that because I don't agree with if you continue to do that, then you'll never know if that was a bad snowball effect seed. So change it up. Don't chance it. Wear the all black. It is the look. It is what we are. It is how we're going for that whole MAC makeup counter girl look. And the guys, we want to look like we're skin professionals, wellness professionals. Now, let's move into the prospecting rule. It's not prospecting if you're not allocating information to come back. when you get asked the question, or when you ask your consultant spa directors the question, did you prospect today? I'm off. I'm not at the spa, but I'm following up with my staff. Did you prospect today? Yep. What'd you do? Well, I went to this business and I handed out $50 gift certificates. And I went to this other business. I dropped off a lead box. No, that's not prospecting. That's relationship building, it seems like. So that's really good. So I'm going to not be a Debbie Downer. I'm going to give you a motivating training moment by saying, well, good job. I'm very proud of you. That's awesome that you took the bull by the horns and you went out and you established relationships and you got the conversation going. That's awesome. I trained you very well in building relationships. However, when I asked you about prospecting, I was asking if you were prospecting. What you told me you did was marketed. You were marketing and you were building relationships, which is good. But that wasn't prospecting. I need to know how many names and numbers you walked back into the spa with, because that's prospecting. However, again, kudos. That's awesome. You're already doing better at your job. Already I'm seeing improvement. That's the sandwich method. That's the positive, negative, positive. And that's what you should always be doing. But it's not prospecting without a name and a phone number. Email addresses, those are more tricky to allocate. If you can get them, woohoo. If not, then don't worry about it. But at the end of the day, and this is something that our CEO, and who is now already in a 40% positive for September, might I add, because of this whole focus on being Reds driven. At the end of the day, never forget that we're in the red appointment generation business. We're not in the spa business. We're not in the customer service business. We're not in anything else except the red appointment generation business. That's the first change you need to implement among your staff. Having them say that and recite that. If you said, hey, what business are you in? They should be able to repeat that back. Every project should always be about how to get more reds. That is what we do. We need to, 1, improve our red appointment bookings. 2, make sure that they show up for the dang appointment. And 3, close the deal when they get to the spa. That is a direct quote from Steve Smith. And that is actually something I wanted to throw into this training because I thought that that was the best thing I've ever heard in my entire career at Planet Beach. Without the reds, without the people coming in, who the heck are we going to sell to? Here's your goal. Okay, good luck me hitting that because like 3 people came in yesterday. Yeah, well, that's why you're not hitting your goal. So change the ship around. Have an entirely new language going on and a whole new vocabulary working in that spa. 3 major things to remember when marketing and prospecting. 1, when you train your staff on allocating red appointments, they must keep in mind, what is my end goal here? Write that down. If the first thing you tell them before you even give them their SMART goal is say, do you know what your end goal is? When I send you out, do you even know what the purpose is? What's your end goal? You know what that is? That is the why, my friends. That's the why. You're tackling the why right there without having to go into detail to see if they actually are able to recite back to you. Yes, to allocate at least 50 names, numbers, and email addresses if possible. What's my end goal here? So when you're training your staff on it, have them keep in mind, what is my end goal? If they keep that in the back of their mind every time they approach a potential lead, hey, what's my end goal? My end goal, obviously, is to get you in the dang spa so that I can wine, dine, and court you and make you fall in love with me and the services so that you eventually sign up to be a member and I make commission, right? But without all of the stuff that you need to do first, it's going to not ever happen. So, 2, put yourselves in their shoes. It's too much and too often that we talk to our consumers in our areas at promotions, that we prospect, that we market. It's too much that we are thinking like a franchisee and we're thinking like a business owner and we're thinking like the spa director or the spa consultant. It's too much that we're in that mindset and we don't understand. Guys, if you go up to somebody, especially Eileen's mom, and you say, yeah, we offer red light therapy, we have a sauna tox, we have a hot box detox. Do you know what that person's thinking in the back of their mind? Oh my God, they're aliens and they're going to probe me. That is what they're thinking. What the heck is a red light therapy? But if I go to you and I know, okay, a consumer has no idea, so I'm going to go up and say we have skin enhancement and improvement services. We have calorie burning services that help with your weight management regime that you might or might not have existing. We also offer UV and UV free options available. So that's basically spray tanning and tanning, teeth whitening services. and beauty, overall beauty and wellness and relaxation services. So all of your beauty goals you can basically get here, everything except nails and waxing. That's what I always used to say. But put yourselves in their shoes because it's important, and it's too much too often that we send people out to prospect and market and they seem defeated and you feel unsuccessful in your efforts because it's always we're out there running around talking like we talk to each other in the spa, but people don't know what the heck you are even when you tell them the name of the services. I always say, and write this down, when you're telling and everybody asks, what do you do? What does Planet Beach do? Or when they say that, hey, you're a tanning salon. No, actually, we offer different services like da 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 da. Don't start off with the name of the services, end with the name of the services. So that's a little helpful tip there for you to take back to your staff. Start off with, well, I'm glad that you asked. We offer services that improve and enhance your skin's tone, texture, and ultimately improve skin imperfections. We also offer weight management services that burn calories per session based on the products that you use. Is what the result of how many calories you burn. We also offer a way for you to have a healthy glow by utilizing our spray tanning and our tanning services while offering repair services to anything if you do utilize our UV tanning. We also offer teeth whitening. Now, a couple of different services that I'm talking about is our red light therapy. That's the service I was talking about with the repair and, repairing after you get in the UV. And then the other service I mentioned when I said weight management, well, we have a hot box detox, or we have a slim capsule is what we like to call it, and that is the weight management. So you see how I explained it in a way where a consumer would go, ooh, grab my attention real quick because I need to hear, Eileen's moms and sisters and friends and besties, they need to hear weight burning, weight management, what calorie burning, what do I have to do? Nothing. Here's the beautiful part is when you tell them, you just lay there, that's when you rope them in. That's when people get excited and say, here's my name, here's my number. Yes, I want free spa services. But if you're explaining it backwards and you're talking spa consultant and not consumer, then that's why you're not able to get anybody interested in coming in. Never, ever, ever forget the opportunities to bring a friend, too. That's where each and every spa, hands down, even sometimes top spas, forget to do that. They're so excited they got a dang red appointment. They didn't even stop to think about the fact that you had other services available at the same time. Who would you like to bring in with you? Not would you like to bring somebody in with you. Every time you have and this is a training moment for you trainers and leaders on the call. When you're training somebody on booking red appointments, tell them it's not a success when you get a red. Throw them for a loop and say it's not, when you get a red appointment, the goal is to get a red. But when you get the red, it's not a success. It's still a fail. Why? Because your ultimate goal, your Super Bowl goal, is to get more than that one person in. You're not going to want to come in by yourself, I promise. You're going to want to enjoy this with somebody. I'm able to offer you this to accommodate you and 2 other people. Don't even stop at 1. I can accommodate 2 other people when you come in. So why don't you make a day of it while I can do it? I'm able to, this is a brand awareness campaign. I'm able to give out free services to anybody. Since you agreed as a thank you, I'll let you bring in 3 people. But make a day of it and come in and take advantage of it because these are usually valued at $39 a pop. And I can give this to you for you and 3 other people for free for 3 each. That's an amazing value. So what are the names of the people that you want to bring in is the follow-up question. Not who or not do you or would you like to. No, just immediately assume that they do want to bring somebody in and ask for their names. How to approach staff on directive when sending them off to prospect. Be sure that they have all the materials they need. Don't just send them off. Do you have your phone at least or a tablet to take and showcase the app as the menu of services? Do you have the registration slips? Do you have the lead box to put the registration slips in that you're getting their names and numbers for? Do you have keychains? Do you have pens? Whatever. You might have promotional items, but all in all, they need to be able to showcase who you are and they have to look amazing. But a smart device with a Planet Beach app or menu of services binder to showcase what the heck you're talking about when you're saying all of those really awesome services. Review the purpose with them before they go out. So let's say I'm prepping Brandy to go out. And I say, Brandy, What's your end goal? I had that conversation. My end goal is to get 50 reds and names and numbers and bring it back and have all these red appointments and make all this money. Yes. Now, do you have everything that you need? What are you going to bring with you? I'm going to bring the iPad with me, and I'm going to bring all those keychains we still have left over, and the registration slips from the lead boxes that we have left over in the back closet. Okay, perfect. Now, what is the purpose of you going out there? The purpose is to go out today and allocate at least da-da-da-da leads. It's a non-negotiable that you collect the first and last names. So I know I have to get the first and last names and their best contact number. The phone type as well for texting purposes, because you're going to want to say, okay, well, since we booked the appointment for tomorrow evening, how would you like to be reminded of your appointment? Would you like for us to send you a text message, shoot you an email, or give you a phone call? Usually that's whenever you can allocate an email address right then and there. After you get their info, don't ask. Tell them what friend they'd like to bring in and get at least a second read. Then lastly, remind them not to sound too catchy and that they want to offer this to the lead as a brand awareness offering. Have them role play on you quickly before they head off and out. What did I just do there? I just did a tell, show, do. I just told them, then I asked them, or I showed it to them, right? I explained to them, listen, we have to do this. This is what you need to allocate. This is how you can allocate it. And then, okay, now do it back to me. You're at the event now. How are you going to approach me? I'm standing there, tapping my feet. Come up to me and try to get my information. And that's usually when you can uncover the how, you guys. When you say, I'm doing everything, we're trying to prospect, we're just not seeing results. That's whenever you're able to uncover all of those training opportunities and go, well, no wonder you're not successful. Why don't you try saying it like this? Because I think that's probably going to be much more beneficial for you. Will sound a lot less salesy and gimmicky. We have ratio. The 3 different types of consumers. We've heard this before. The red appointment that has an offer, the walk-in without an offer, the walk-in with the offer / daily deal, Groupon, or whatever. But then there's also actually one I'm missing on here. Some of you might know the answer to that, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that it is a existing customer that comes in and buys a paid in full each and every time. The red appointment that has the offer. The sales process steps 1 through 3, guest greeting, personal profile, and tour is the one you follow. Offer these free services to try. Sales process step 4, pitch the programs. And then 4th step, buy back opportunity. You have something to buy back because the red appointment came in on something, whether it's a guest pass, a $50 gift certificate, some type of flyer, an offering you created on your own, whatever that value is, you can always buy back. So you do the guest greeting, you have them sign into the guest register, you PSP them, you give them the tour, you wine and dine them. Here, don't take my word for it. Try it out because, hey, you came in here with your guest pass, blah, blah, blah. The guest pass is worth $40. You can buy that back after you pitch the program for them and implement it towards their startup fee today. Products and service regime form builder. You don't want them to leave empty-handed. Many of you are letting them leave empty-handed. Give them a regime to leave with on paper that they can take home and see every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I got to use this service, and every Tuesday and Thursday, I got to use this service with this product. And then as always, add on somebody else to the membership. You have a daughter, cousin, best friend, sister, aunt, uncle, neighbor, random person that you just grabbed in off the street because you're in a good mood and this is fun for you because you're so in love with Planet Beach, whoever, add them on. And then get a referral, or 6, is my opinion. I like 10. Most people say 5, but how do you approach that conversation? Hey, so now that we got you as a member today, why don't we go ahead and get you set up for your first service appointment here based on your regime form. And, if you want to come in tomorrow at the same time, I'll go ahead and schedule that for you. And do you want me to talk to you tomorrow about how you can get this membership for free or where we pay for it? Or do you want to find out about that right now so you could just get straight into the service tomorrow? Promise you, 10 times out of 10, they're going to say, I'm sorry, what? Yes, I want to know how I can get my membership for free. Then before they leave, don't let them leave without downloading the app because that will be your friend and they can book their service appointments from the app and have them like your Facebook page. So that way when you're posting to Facebook with all of your specials, interacting with your members in general, they have the capability of seeing that every time. There's the walk-in with the offer. The walk-in with the offer is going to be treated a little bit differently. Not every approach to a membership sale is going to be the same here. Your red appointment you prepared for, a red appointment you had something in hand, you were able to accommodate, you knew that they had the time because they scheduled the time. But a walk-in, most cases, are in a hurry. A walk-in is like, hey, I just need prices. I'm on my way to work, or I'm back to work, or whatever. I got to go cook. Just tell me how much it costs for 1 month of tanning. Oh my gosh, your head's spinning. Still have to go through the process, folks. Greet them, give them a PSP, explain to them in your approach to the PSP. Listen, this is just so I get a better understanding of which exact services you're going to want to hear the most of. Okay, well, I just want tanning. That's fine. We have so many different levels, and I want to make sure that I'm showing you all of the ones that you want to utilize and you'll benefit from. So that's what this sheet's going to give to me. If you're in a hurry, I promise you it usually only takes people about 30 seconds to fill out, and they're done. And at that point, I walk you around. We pick and choose, and then I give you the price point. And then at that point, if they're still in a hurry after they get so excited about seeing what you've toured them around on and they're ready to leave, then book the appointment for them to come back, because you'll want them to try a service, a try before you buy. How many places offer that opportunity? This is really so that you have more time to work them, but in their minds, this is, wow, this person really cares if I care or not. I just came in here in a hurry, right? I'm in a rush, and they were like, you know what? We want you to be able to try this before you buy it. You clearly don't have time today. I want to respect your time, but I don't want you to make a decision off the bat. If anything, come in here tomorrow regardless to get a free service. You know, that's all with them. I said nothing about me. That is all with them. So that right there, my friends, is why we need to start establishing how we're approaching that entire ratio situation. How could you buy back something that they walked in with nothing with? You know what? As a consultant, remember what we said at the beginning of this call? I'm a scenario consultant. I'm going to figure out a creative way to buy something back you didn't even buy or have in your hand. You know what I can do, since we're having a brand awareness campaign right now, Miss Mary? I'll even go ahead and I can get you set up today for you to be able to come in and utilize these services as often as you want at our location. I can get you set up with that and just pretend like you walked in with a guest pass. Why don't we do that? Because that guest pass is worth X amount of dollars. It's valued at X amount of dollars. I can implement that towards getting you set up with this specific program, and that then we can get you set up to utilize this all the time, not just today, at this price point versus this price point. I can always find something to buy back. Even though you didn't come in with something, there's always a special that you can say that you could buy something back they didn't even have. And then following the same steps there. The walk-in with okay, well, I just went through what a scenario was, I'm sorry, without the offer. But if you have a walk-in with the offer, clearly you treat them the same way, only you actually do have something in hand for them to be able to put towards their get started fee. So the same steps, the same scenarios, and the same approaches is what you want to utilize in that case. And always remember, the same way you look at when you train somebody on getting red appointments, it's not a success unless you get more than one. Look at that as the add-on and second sale when you are training on getting new members. And just know that when you get a new member, the job is not done. It's never closed. The sale is never closed whenever you get a member. Don't celebrate because it's not fully completed until you get their husband on at half off, because it's nothing at the point of sale. It won't affect their cost at the point of sale. It's half of what they're going to be paying each month. And they got 30 days to decide if they want to keep it or not. So you know what, Miss Mary? I'm not even going to question the situation right now, because we can cross that bridge later when we get there. I want to get your husband set up on this right now, because I won't be able to do this again in the future. He'll have to pay to re-enroll, and let's say he falls in love with the massage. This could be one of those things where he's like, honey, this is the best thing you've ever done for me. So let's cross that bridge when we get there, because it's not affecting anything right now. I'll go ahead and get him set up too. Bam, it's that easy. That's the approach, though. If I were to approach it any other way and say, oh, Miss Mary, do you know that we have add-on opportunities? Well, in our add-on opportunity, you can add your husband onto your account, and this way he can come in with you. Maybe Miss Mary doesn't want him to come in with her. Maybe she says, you know what, I want him to be able to come here, boo-boo, but the reason I'm coming here is to get away from him. So keep all of those things in mind and think like a consumer and never assume. If I were to approach you like that, that's a sale. You are treating me like a commission. No, I'm not interested. This is just for me, but thank you for offering, is usually what you'll hear back at that. So again, it's all about that approach. That will make or break it. Every single time, download the app and have them like the Facebook page and get referrals. So I'm going to stop there for today, you guys. We'll make a continuance for next Tuesday because I've kept you for long enough. I was hoping not to do that, but we know how the approach training is so very important now that you're looking at things in a bigger picture and sitting back, and you've probably had a couple of aha moments yourself, and you could have been a very seasoned franchisee or spa director. So I'm going to let you guys marinate on what we've discussed so far today. And I want you guys to come up with an action plan for me. And when I call you, because I'm going to be doing some heavy-duty phone calls here with all of you over the next month or two, I'm hoping to get that. And if you can actually email me what your game plan is, that's even better. Put together a SMART goal for yourself based on what you've taken from this webinar so far. What's that SMART goal? I want you to be specific. I want you to find out how you're going to measure this goal. Make it realistic and achievable. And also put a time on it, because you guys know my saying, a goal without a deadline is just a wish. I want to be the president of the United States, but if I don't say that I'll have that done and that I'm in the running for the campaign by the end of 2020, then I'm just going to keep saying in 2025 that I'm going to be the president of the United States. I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to do it one day, but if I don't put a deadline in place, that's not going to happen. So identify your weaknesses. We talked about the hardest part of change is the implementation of the change. So what are the things right now that we discussed on this call? Yeah, I still wear all black, but I still let my consultants wear a pop of color. That you might not think that affects sales, but it might, and it might not. But do we want to chance it? Do we want to put our money to the test there and say, I'll gamble that that's probably not what it's going to be? Don't. Just for the process of elimination, to narrow down and drill down where our performance gaps are, make the changes that you know you guys haven't changed or don't do or don't follow, and change up the approach to it. Change up the appearance, change your approach to your trainings, to your recruiting, to your teaching how to get a red, to getting a red, to booking a red and confirming a red and calling a missed red and selling a membership, and all of those things that we discussed today. Get a list together and make it a SMART goal, and put together your takeaways from this call, and then put together your action items with your deadline. If you can, put it in your email, send it to me ASAP. That would really be helpful for me to be able to help you guys better. Like, if I don't have to call individually and remember to ask you those questions, I can better help you when you're in my face. So send that over to me, because I'm more than happy to help you guys with this timeline, give you suggestions, give you additional training, tools, resources you guys might not even know exist that can help you in hitting this goal and making the proper changes where you're all making more money. So without further ado, make sure you do that. That is your homework. We will continue this on Tuesday of next week to continue the ratio. I'll go in a little bit more detail. I'll review and recap what we did today, just so that you know. I'll go into more detail with ratio. I want to spend more time with that because I didn't even get into overcoming objections. And then we'll cover retention approaches, the approach and how the approach is affecting your retention efforts right now that are failing. And we'll do that on Tuesday. So thank you guys so much for being patient with me, for sticking around. Not one person hung up this entire time, and I'm so super proud of my little eagle.